Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, in which we're going to show you how MarkLogic helps unlock value from your complex data and enable data agility. My name is Alicia Saya. I'm with the marketing team at MarkLogic, and I'll be moderating today's session. With me today, I have my colleague Bijou from our solutions engineering team, and he's going to explain how MarkLogic fits in a complex enterprise architecture landscape. And he's going to demonstrate examples of using MarkLogic to ingest data and make it available for consumption to downstream systems. Before we go any further, I want to let you know that your lines are muted, but you can ask a question at any time in the Q&A section, and we do have time reserved at the end to answer those questions. After the webinar, you'll get a link of the recording, so don't worry if you missed anything. Now, I've got just one slide here to give you a little context about MarkLogic and our platform. Anywhere there's a desire to do more with information and do it faster, visionary organizations turn to MarkLogic to simply solve problems others can't. MarkLogic helps you get more value from your complex data and do it faster by delivering data agility. We define data agility as the ability to make nimble changes to any aspect of how any information is used, interpreted, and acted on with speed and ease. We've seen that the old way of working with data is no longer fit for purpose. It's too brittle, it's limited by silos, and it's application-centric, which means lots of point-to-point integrations, ETL-type operations, and time delays. Traditional data management can't accommodate change easily or quickly, nor keep up with the pace of business. Yet successful business is about being able to respond rapidly to change and innovation. We believe the better way is to take a data-centric approach, which massively increases our customers' ability to make better decisions, armed with quality and complete data from a single platform. Our customers want to work with information differently. They want to connect information, create and interpret meaning, and consume data along with everything that's known about it for a variety of purposes across the enterprise. We provide a data platform packed with capabilities that lets them do just that. Now, today's webinar is focused on the connect and consume aspects of our platform, and I'm going to turn it over to Bijou now to show you how that works.
I will start with a quick introduction to MarkLogic data platform. MarkLogic is an evolved and improved type of database called semantic data platform that combines two proven technologies, multimodal database and semantic AI, along with an embedded search engine. Let us quickly go a bit deep into the multimodal feature of the database because it is very unique. For that, let me start with a popular term, polyglot persistence. It's a concept of using different technologies to handle different data storage needs. In case of an e-commerce applications, for example, there are different types of data, relational, document-based, in-memory, geographical data, or binary data. In the traditional way, different database technologies are required to handle the different types of data. Apart from that, there would be a need for search indexes and a search engine, making the storage layer very complex. MarkLogic realizes the polyglot persistence in a much simpler way because MarkLogic stores all the different types in a consistent way within the same storage engine. So there is no need to wire different storage technologies to realize polyglot persistence in MarkLogic. On top of that, you get the enterprise features of 100% asset compliance, immediate consistency, advanced security features, and the capability to deploy in different platforms. That was a quick introduction to MarkLogic server. But in reality, MarkLogic as a database or data platform will have to coexist in bigger enterprise environment where there are other platforms, API gateways, messaging queues, analytical tools, or machine learning platforms. Today's webinar is focused on how MarkLogic connects to other systems and how other systems interacts with MarkLogic. What you see now is an example of where MarkLogic is found in a bigger landscape. There are different technologies on the inbound side like Kafka or Apache, NiFi or Rust services. On the outbound side, there could be operational applications like web applications or API gateways like MuleSoft or Kong, analytical tools like Tableau or Power BI or other custom applications built in Java or Node. So this is an example architecture. Again, um, many enterprises have much complex landscape than what you see here. What are the popular integrations that we have seen in MarkLogic? The list is very large. Some common integrations are listed here. It could be there are API gateways, integration frameworks like Camel or Spring or Delboomi, web app frameworks like built on React.js, Vue or Angular. These are the popular web app development frameworks, monitoring tools, Relic or Datadog, custom business applications, of course, Java, Python based or .NET based, data governance tools like Alation, messaging systems like Kong, Kafka, MuleSoft, workflow orchestration systems like Spring, Boomi again, data processing frameworks in R or Spark or Glue or Jupyter notebooks, um, machine learning systems, natural language processing systems like Semaphore or Spacey, AWS Comprehend, BI tools and data stores or data marts or data warehouses. So these are the common integrations that we have seen with MarkLogic, but how are these, what are the popular integration tools? What are the techniques that sit between MarkLogic and the other system? Right? So the popular ones are listed over here. The complete list you can get from our website. One is the MarkLogic content pump, which is the command line tool for bulk loading, copy or extraction of documents, or which can integrate with Gradle, or it is a command line tool, so it can integrate with many other orchestration tools or Apache Camel or Airflow, those kind of systems as well. Then we have Java and Node client APIs. There is a data movement SDK that is embedded in the Java client API. Out of the box REST services are available when you install MarkLogic. There is a Java-based content reprocessing tool called Corb. We have connectors for MuleSoft and Kafka. Grove is a toolkit for developing UI applications in MarkLogic. We have processors for Apache NiFi. We have connectors for the BI tools, the popular BI tools, Tableau, Power BI, and there is an ODBC driver which can be used for connecting with many other BI tools and other analytic based tools which needs relational style data. And we have connectors for AWS Glue and Spark. Okay. However, I would like to highlight three of the technologies here, which is the Java Node client APIs, the data movement SDK, and REST API. If you find a connecting an out-of-the-box connecting technology is not available, these are the technologies that can be used to build them. In fact, most of the tools, in fact, all the tools that are listed here are actually built using these three mechanisms. In that way, at customer implementations, we have integrated to many more components than I have talked in this webinar till now. From here, let me move to a demo. I will not again go deep into what is happening inside MarkLogic data platform, as that is not the focus of this webinar. Instead, what I'll be doing is I'll be ingesting some customer data in batch mode. Then the data will be updated over REST APIs and in a real-time basis, and I will be bringing in data through Kafka. Then this data will be we'll see how it is getting updated in a custom web application and MarkLogic's own Hub Central application. Then I will trigger a Spark job which runs a k-means machine learning algorithm to cluster the customers into different groups. And we will visualize all this in a Power BI dashboard. So that would be the objective of the demo. So I'll be using a few web applications for the demo. One is MarkLogic Data Hub Central. This is the UI on top of MarkLogic. I will be using the load section, run section, and explore section for loading and running the data processing steps and to explore and view the data. Then I have MarkLogic Kafka sync connector running in a Confluent environment. I have a custom web application built on React.js, which will be dynamically updated when the data is loaded in MarkLogic. So basically, this is connected to the MarkLogic environment. And I have a Spark environment where I will, when I submit the jobs, it will be running some Spark jobs on the customer data. So with that, I will load some customer information in CSV format in the batch way into MarkLogic. So now what is happening is the a flow, a data processing flow is being run, and it is ingesting CSV style data from MarkLogic, and ingestion has been completed. 6003 documents are written. You can explore the data from this stage itself, but what I will be doing is, since the focus is not on what is happening inside MarkLogic, I am running the mapping steps to convert the CSV data into a consumable format. So I'm running the mapping step now. So this mapping step essentially is taking the CSV data, and it is converting that into a JSON structure, which is understood by the web application that I was talking about, and it will be automatically also converted into the SQL style for the Spark applications to read and the Power BI to read as well. Okay. So the mapping step has been completed. At this stage, we can explore the data just to see how it looks like. So there are 6003 documents loaded, and you can see the documents in the JSON format. But this is again in Hub Central. How it appears in our custom web application. Let's look at that. So I click on search over here, and all the 6003 documents are now available over here, and I can click and see actually like what is the details of the customer. This is all based on the REST APIs that are exposed from MarkLogic, and in this application I am using only the out of the box REST services that are coming with the MarkLogic. But you can always, MarkLogic has the capability of developing your own REST extensions and deploying it, and they can be called from an application like this or from an API gateway. Okay. And this pagination features, like going to the next page, previous page, these are all based the MarkLogic search APIs built-in behaviors, and then we can search like this using type ahead features, and I can narrow down my search basically use the type. Again, that type ahead feature is a built-in API that is there in MarkLogic. Okay. So now what we have done is we just loaded some customer data in the batch format, right? But now I will go to my Postman step, and I will use a REST API that comes with MarkLogic Data Hub called Hub Flow Runner. It takes a specific structure in the body, but what it is essentially doing is I'm going to load two more customers in a real-time way. Okay, so I'm just submitting this document, and I refresh this page now. 6003 became 6005. So two customer documents got added. In the when you go and explore over here, also you will immediately see that 6005 documents are there. Okay. Now, as next step, actually, I will go to I will send few customers to the Kafka topic called customer topic, which is being listened by the MarkLogic SIG listener or sync connector, and let's see what happens through that. Okay, so then I will again refresh my page over here. Okay, let me refresh it. Sorry. Yeah, there are now 6009 documents that got added here, and when I go to the custom web application and do a search again, I see 6009 documents here as well. Okay, so this is how after the one-time ingestion happens. This is how typically the situation in customer sites, where there would be real-time ingestions from messaging queues or some other web applications that that happens, right? Because that is the more realistic way of uh, realistic way that actually MarkLogic can be used in an operational environment. Now we have 6009 customers loaded into MarkLogic. Let us. I'm going to submit a Spark job, which as I mentioned, it is running a k-means clustering algorithm. Spark job has been submitted. So what this Spark job is doing is it is reading directly from MarkLogic using the Spark connector that we have, running a k-means clustering algorithm on all the customers, and then will classify those customers into four different groups. Okay, so let's see whether it has been completed. Yeah, the job has been completed. So let us go back and see the Hub Central here. So close it and come back and read the final database. You can see that actually the 6009, there is a new collection called k-means. 6009 documents have been created, and each of the document has a cluster associated with that particular customer. Okay, how does it appear in the custom web application? So again, on this page, it is not there, but when I click on the relationships for each customer, it says that actually okay, it is in cluster 0. So this customer is in cluster 0. This customer is also in cluster 0. This customer is in cluster 3. Okay, so here one thing I didn't mention is the Spark job is essentially doing the clustering and writing the results back into MarkLogic. Okay, so it is a read from MarkLogic as well as it is writing back to MarkLogic the cluster results, and this application is reading the cluster results from MarkLogic. So the data that we created is immediately viewable in a Power BI dashboard as well. So what you see is a Power BI dashboard that I have built, and it shows the customers and the distribution of gender, all the slides and dice that is possible, like age group wise distribution. And this particular dashboard is using a combination of calling the search APIs and using that information, using the ODBC connector, and also the Sparkle connector, the Sparkle APIs that we have. So all those things are brought in together here to create this dashboard. So basically, So what we have seen today is that we can connect um, from MarkLogic, we can connect to different technologies, different systems using different ways actually. So what we saw was connecting to Kafka, a direct REST API connection on the ingestion side, uh, ingesting data in batch, connecting to a Spark environment, connecting to a custom web application, and connecting to an analytical tool, Power BI. Okay. That's the demo for today.
Thanks, Bijou. That was great. Now, before we move to the Q&A, I want to sum up the reasons our customers choose MarkLogic to solve their complex data problems. First, the MarkLogic platform is unique in that it treats data and metadata as a single data resource, regardless of format, type, location, or quantity. Data, including all its metadata, is connected and ingested as is, ready for immediate consumption without the need for normalization, transformation, or simplification. And although we didn't cover it in this demo, our semantic AI technology uses machine learning and knowledge models to synthesize, enrich, extract, and harmonize all types of metadata, which greatly simplifies creating and sharing what the data means. Now, we store this meaning with the data for informed search, contextual applications, grounded data for analytics, rigorous data governance, and transformational data security. The robust set of capabilities of our data platform benefit our customers by enabling data agility, which is the ability to easily make powerful changes to how data is interpreted and acted on, ease of connection, integrate your existing data sources, repositories, applications, and workflows. Delivery of information in context to its use case and its intended audience. And of course, data trust, which is critical. And that's earned via traceable, transparent, repeatable, and auditable results, understandable by business users. All facts and interpretations are part of the business record and support rigorous compliance efforts. Now, with MarkLogic, you reduce the effect of data and knowledge silos in your organization with a single data source along with everything that's known about what the data means. And it's all supported with enterprise-grade database capabilities like security, scalability, availability, disaster recovery, language support, temporality, APIs, and a standards-based architecture. Now, if you think those are benefits your organization can take advantage of, we'd love to have a conversation. MarkLogic is being used around the world to support a wide variety of use cases involving complex data. We'd be very interested to hear about your use case, and we can have a technical meeting with your team to discuss. Also, if you're a developer and want to jump right in, you can download MarkLogic software, and we do offer free training through MarkLogic University. Now, with that, we've got a few minutes to answer some of your questions live. And if we don't get time to answer them live, we'll follow up after. So let's open it up to your questions. All right, we've got a few here, Bijou. First one is, can we integrate any reporting tool to MarkLogic?
Yes, so MarkLogic has connectivity, built-in connections with the popular BI tools like Power BI and Tableau. But in general, actually, anything that supports ODBC or Search API or basically REST API, they can be connected to MarkLogic.
Okay.
So,
All right, next one. Has MarkLogic been used to store time series data? It says kind of high frequency, like one data point every second. And if yes, do you have recommendations for a certain type of model for entities?
So yes, MarkLogic has been used for IoT kind of data where the data comes in high frequency um, and it is like time series kind of the data that is coming in from GPS devices. But generally, our recommendation also would be like what we have generally seen is while MarkLogic can store all those data, it can ingest in that high high frequency, and it can do everything. Um, the the downside of is basically generally the those kind of data. Every data point in this 1 second is not really is useful. It does not have the same business value, but the aggregations are having a higher business value. So MarkLogic would be better used for the aggregated results and the high frequency low value data would either be stored with a lower retention so that the storage does not grow enormous, which becomes costly from a storage perspective. But aggregated results is what MarkLogic will store for a higher duration. So, to simply answer, yes, MarkLogic can store that data. It can consume the time series data over different channels like coming over Kafka or RabbitMQ through a Java interface, all those kind of things. Um, but you have to consider with actually whether the data retention is generally different between the every data point versus the aggregated results. Okay.
Okay.
And regarding the modeling of that entity, um, modeling of that entity, what we have seen is GPS data is what I've seen most common as the IoT series data. So we do not have a restriction around okay what you can model from an entity perspective. So that should be okay. The ge- Generally the recommendation would be there should be a timestamp on the entity and that should be indexable so that you can aggregate it faster and retrieve it faster in the same way it comes in. Okay.
Alrighty. Next question. Is there an option to connect MarkLogic with Dankster? I guess it's a data orchestration tool.
Yeah, we have to get back on that. I'm not personally familiar with that tool. I need to get with my peers and see whether we have seen that before.
Okay. Let's see. Another question seems to be kind of related to the previous one. Can MarkLogic handle data ingestion for unstructured or real-time data? If yes, how?
Yeah, it is the same thing actually. Like we do not have any restriction in bringing in unstructured data because we are schema agnostic. We do not care in what format the data is, and it is in real time. When it says real time, rather than real time, I will call it as like low latency because real time gets misinterpreted many times whether it is real time or it is 5 seconds delay, 3 seconds delay in that way actually, right? So yeah, with the low latency, yes, we have seen a lot of we are having a lot of customers who are building low latency ingestion frameworks using with MarkLogic. So yes, MarkLogic can handle that.
Okay, cool. Got another one. Does MarkLogic work with AWS and Microsoft Azure?
Yes, the simple answer is yes. MarkLogic, we have a lot of customers in both Azure and AWS. Um, the unique thing about MarkLogic around cloud is basically it is the same offering. It is the same binary or the same server that runs on-prem or VMware or Docker or AWS and Azure. As part of releases, we test on all these things, but it is the same source code or the same binary that runs actually. So the advantage is many of our customers they are not they're in different stages of their cloud journey. So what really happens is they start on-prem, do the POC, and on the and maybe of the QA also is like on-prem, and then they have a cloud strategy that gets matured, and they want to move to AWS at that time, and they will proceed. So at that time, there will not be any major code changes. Actually, there will not be requiring any code change to make MarkLogic whatever you developed on-prem in the cloud, any of the cloud actually. So uh, multi-cloud also, our customers have AWS and Azure, like one as primary, one as secondary. That should not be a problem because it's the same code that can be deployed to both the cloud offerings.
Cool. All right, we're back to time series data now. With the time series data, would you recommend pre-aggregation, or would you manage the aggregation inside MarkLogic and drop the transactional data to a data store?
We have seen both actually. If there is a capability to pre-aggregate, that would be recommended. A typical example would be a trip data for an insurance company. The trip data that is getting collected from the OBD devices that is installed on the car. Um, at the end of the trip, there will be an aggregated data that they would send. So MarkLogic will be more interested in getting that aggregated data instead of the trip data that gets generated maybe like every 5 minutes or every 5 seconds more, or maybe depending on the insurance company, it is different frequency. But so if the pre-aggregated data is available, then that would be the recommendation. But otherwise, what would happen is MarkLogic can take in all the time series data and it can trigger flows and aggregation logic within MarkLogic to make it available and aggregate it for consumption. So we have seen both. And as part of the aggregation logic execution, we can drop the transactional data. But rather than the transactional data dropping, we would give a different retention period for the transactional data that is coming. For that, for example, aggregate data stays for 3 years, but the time series data that comes every 5 minutes, that has a 30-day life period, or the archive after 30 days in that way.
All right, cool. Another one. What are the ways that you would handle multi-tenancy in MarkLogic and Data Hub framework?
Um, our recommendation for data hub framework is one data hub framework per cluster. That is because of the couple of things. One is, even if there is a capability to have multiple data hubs, like business wise separated or department wise separate data hub in one cluster, there are some resources which are shared, like security modules are shared between them. Then underlying hardware resources are shared. So a bad code on a one data hub can actually affect the other data hub, which is actually running fine and nobody uh, did anything with it. So although we can partition at the application level multiple data hubs, at the resource level actually they are all sharing the resources. So um, it is not recommended typically to have multiple data hubs in multiple tenants. When I say multiple tenants, I would assume that it essentially means multiple data hubs in the same MarkLogic server, and that is not recommended because of the reason that I mentioned. But technically, it is doable. So at the lower environments and all, or for training purposes, for having um, students learning the same thing against one server. Actually, yes, there can be multiple databases in one server, and multiple users can be logged in and work on their own portions independently. But in a production world, actually, they are all shared under the hardware level, at the memory level, at the disk level, actually. So that would be a problem.
Cool. All right. Question about dev version. Is there a free dev version that folks can use to learn?
Yeah. I think Alicia, you covered that at the end. Yes, there is a free dev version. You are free to download, and you can take a look at the license agreement, which essentially talks about you can do anything. There is no feature restriction with that dev. There is a restriction on do not use it in production, and then there is a 1 terabyte soft limit on the data size. But you can build clusters with multiple nodes and all those kind of, so all things possible. And the uniqueness about MarkLogic dev version is it is fully featured. There is absolutely no feature which is not available in dev but is available only in production. So it's,
Cool.
in fact, once you grab the license, the dev instance itself can be, you can apply a license on it and make it a licensed version.
And you can download that right from our website.
Right
So,
up. Yeah.
so I don't see any other questions in here. And we do try to keep these to a half hour and we've run over. So, looks like we should wrap up for today. Bijou, thanks for doing the demo. Great job answering the questions. Thank you all for joining us. And please do stay tuned to our website. We'll be launching some more webinars in our demo series soon, focused on different aspects of that connect, create, consume data supply chain. As well as some pre-recorded ones that you can watch while you're waiting for the live versions. So thank you all for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And we'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.